It was an ordinary morning at the Biotech Research Institute where I worked as a junior scientist. The lab bustled with activity as my colleagues and I prepared to continue our research on a highly classified project. Our mission was simple: to find a way to combat infectious diseases more effectively. I had always been passionate about virology, and this project was the culmination of years of hard work. Little did I know that this day would become a nightmare beyond my darkest dreams. Our lab was deep underground, concealed from the prying eyes of the world. We were working on something that had the potential to revolutionize medicine: gene editing technology capable of targeting and neutralizing deadly viruses. The experiment involved a genetically modified virus, which we had been working on in isolation for months. The virus was designed to target and destroy infectious agents with incredible precision, a groundbreaking approach to disease eradication. As we conducted the experiment, a series of unfortunate events unfolded. A careless mistake by one of my colleagues resulted in a vial containing the modified virus slipping from their hand and shattering on the floor. Time seemed to slow as we watched the virus spread across the sterile tiles. Panic set in as we realized the gravity of the situation. We had breached containment, and there was no way to predict the consequences of our actions. Within hours, the first signs of the outbreak emerged. The infected lab technician exhibited bizarre behavior, stumbling and slurring words. It wasn't long before the virus took full control, and the transformation was horrifying. Our colleague had become a mindless, flesh-craving creature. Chaos erupted in the lab as we scrambled to contain the outbreak. The infected technician attacked others, spreading the virus like wildfire. We had become the unwitting architects of our own nightmare. With the lab in disarray and our colleagues succumbing to the virus, we realized we had to take drastic action. We armed ourselves with whatever makeshift weapons we could find: beakers, scalpels, and fire extinguishers, and barricaded ourselves in one of the lab's isolation chambers. The sound of screams and desperate pleas echoed outside as the infected pounded on the chamber door. We watched in horror as our once human co-workers became monsters, their eyes devoid of humanity. As we huddled in the isolation chamber, fear and desperation gripped us. We needed to find a way to reverse the effects of the virus, to save our colleagues and ourselves from becoming like the creatures outside. Our only hope lay in the research data we had accumulated over the months. We scoured through notebooks and computer files, hoping to find a clue, a glimmer of a solution buried in our work. Hours turned into days as we worked tirelessly to decipher our research. We discovered that the modified virus had a unique vulnerability, a weakness that could potentially be exploited to reverse its effects. Our lab's chief virologist, Dr. Evelyn Wallace, was the one to make the breakthrough. She found a way to target the virus's genetic code and disrupt its replication cycle. It was a risky endeavor, but it was our only chance. With Dr. Wallace's guidance, we synthesized a potential antidote and administered it to the infected lab technician still trapped outside the isolation chamber. The tension was palpable as we watched, hoping against hope that our efforts had not been in vain. Minutes passed like hours, and then, miraculously, we saw a change in the infected technician. His frenzied movements slowed, and a glimmer of recognition returned to his eyes. It was a moment of triumph amidst the chaos. With the antidote in hand, we knew we had to act quickly. We ventured out of the isolation chamber, carefully navigating through the labyrinthine halls of the lab. The infected were still a threat, but we were armed with the means to save them. As we administered the antidote to our colleagues, we watched as the madness receded and their humanity returned. It was a bittersweet moment, knowing that we had been responsible for their suffering, but also for their salvation. In the end, the outbreak had been contained, but at a tremendous cost. The lab was in ruins, and the lives of our colleagues were forever changed. We had inadvertently unleashed a nightmare, a horrifying experiment gone terribly wrong. The incident was kept classified, hidden from the public eye. Sympathetic government agencies helped us rebuild our lives, but the guilt and trauma of what had transpired haunted us.